Hey everybody, this is Brian Doyle, and I'm here with Jason Moss, and filling in for John Reese today is Stefania Volto. I'm a little confused here. It's a pleasure having you, Stefania. Nice to get away from John for a week. But
Brian.
anyhow, and I say that because I'm jealous he's on vacation while I'm here. But anyhow, today's 10-minute talk is really going to focus on LinkedIn marketing today. So Jason has really been spearheading this process for us over here at Allied, working on, consistent outreach, making sure that we've got consistent messaging online, that we're, being active in the community. And he's going to tell us a little bit about some of the steps that he's encountered thus far. And then, Stefania will kind of give you a little bit of a feeling of why this is important to our organization overall. So with that, I'm going to turn the tides over to you, Jason.
Awesome.
And I'll let you start telling us a little bit about what you're doing in terms of LinkedIn marketing.
Yeah. So, I mean, right away, you touched on something that's super important, and that's the engagement and interaction. And, that's always a good place to start. Most people's approach to social media and kind of the old school way of thinking, right, is to just kind of slam the feed with content, right? And that's great. But a lot of times people stop there. And in order to get people to engage with your content, you kind of got to, engage with theirs, right? It's hard for somebody to keep engaging with you if you're not. So what I like to start doing is, you got to approach the feed, and you've got to really take the time to read people's posts, and you've got to engage with them. And, throwing up a like is great, but you're not going to really start true relationship building and get real engagement unless you're engaging with them. So you got to kind of comb through the posts and see where you can leave a thoughtful comment. I mean, that's the big part of LinkedIn, is everybody's there to learn. Not everyone's there to just make a sale, right? Everyone wants to learn and engage, and by engaging with them, they'll engage back. So you got to like their content. You have to comment on what they're doing, and hopefully, what I've been doing too is you got to leave a question at the end, because what a lot of mistakes people make is they'll just say, "Hey, nice post," right? But what I like to do is I like to go in there and I like to keep the conversation going. And, with the hopes of that is that through all of these conversations, you're hoping that you'll be able to get some private messages where you'll really be able to take the time to learn from people. And then, going back to the content, consistency is really key. And one way to help keep consistent for the people out there, if you're not already doing this, is to keep a social media calendar. In the past, we've used a tool like Hootsuite, which is an automatic scheduling, but also what's really cool within that program is that you can also keep a calendar. And that's a great way to stay organized and stay on top of current events, and to make sure that even if it slips your mind, that the content is still going out. So it's really important to stay organized and consistent.
Absolutely. And also sharing content too. I mean, a lot of the content that we put out there isn't necessarily, our own. A lot of it is either from vendors or just other individuals in the field, and also throwing up some personal posts every now and then too, because I say it all the time, like we're all people, we're doing business with each other, so it's always good to build a personal relationship, and it starts with you putting yourself out there too.
That's a great point, Stefania, because you're really talking about here, getting out there, sharing good information that you're finding, whether it's yours or not, because the community needs that information. So, one great way to keep consistent in your posts is finding other material that you yourself consumed and enjoyed, and then utilizing that as a posting mechanism.
Absolutely. I mean, we want to make sure that, even if these people aren't our customers, that they're informed as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to kind of establish yourself as kind of an industry leader, as a thought leader in your space, right? And what better way to do that than to just share the content and really offer something of value? Because, the old school way of just sell, and just posting nothing about what you do, after a while, it just gets really tiring. You really have to be contributing something, because, like I said, it's a learning platform. And if you can deliver something really valuable within your space, or even if you've stepped outside of your realm to kind of bring more people into your space, it's really, really important to establish yourself as a thought leader, because a lot of times, if you're talking about converting to sales, that's where it comes into. People learn a little bit about your personality, and they learn to trust you, and they look forward to your content, especially if they're saying that they're learning something all the time. that's really important to engage. And, you know, Stefania, you also hit it on the head with the personal posts. You know, I know we've all seen, you know, this isn't Facebook, this is business only. But what people fail to realize is that, like you said, people do business with people, not with logos. So it's really important to let your personality shine, because that's how you really build true relationships, in my opinion.
Right. And the more relationships that we're building over time, you know, when people do have a need, that relationship is already established. So it's a lot easier, and the comfort levels there, you know, and they know that by the information that we're putting out there, you know, that we're a trusted advisor.
Now that they say the average user on LinkedIn is only on for like 17 minutes a month, I think it is, or something crazy like that. So it's really important to make sure that you're getting in there and spending a lot more time, because you're going to see a lot more opportunities than those who
Well, we want to be consistent too, so that you're always, you know, you're staying, well, one, you're staying relevant and you're staying in the feed, you know, and with LinkedIn, we've seen over and over again how they change their algorithms, and the more engagement that you get on these posts, the more people are going to be able to see. The more content that you share, it's going out to that wider audience too, which is, you know, a lot of, I know what, you know, what you do is kind of keeping up with all of that.
Yep.
So let's shift gears a little bit from building content and kind of being consistent into how do we transition this into a sales opportunity, or transition this into a lead that we're going to try to put into our sales pipeline. You know, marketing and social media is wonderful for businesses, and it's great for building brand and getting more involved in the community, and I'm all for that. But ultimately, most of us are for profits, and when all is said and done, these efforts, you know, I have an old saying: if it doesn't eventually transition into money, it's just a nice hobby, right? So, so what we really need to talk about is really, how do you take these engagements that you're making and try to quantify them and then put them into a pipeline? So Jason, maybe you can start us off a little bit with, you know, you start making engagements, you start connecting with people. And as you connect with these people, what do you then do to try to get them from a branding visibility type partner to a actual person that may do business with Allied?
Yeah. So, and you know, it all starts with the engagement, like I said. And one thing to do is, it's really important to take the time to learn, you know, prospect, if you will, to learn about them. And that's why it's important to have that information out on your profile. So one thing to do is to go there and, you know, check out the website, check out their profile, read their accomplishments, read the things that they've worked on. And what's really important is to go in there and to kind of take tidbits of information and talk to them about it. I mean, let's be honest, people love to talk about themselves and what they've accomplished. And, you know, it's true. And a lot of people kind of go in there with the, here's what we do, and they kind of go for the hard pitch right away. And you kind of got to warm people up nowadays, to be honest. You know, people are slammed with emails and personal messages. And I know you guys have seen people complaining about the sales pitches that they get every 2 seconds right upon connecting, right? We've all experienced it. So it's really important to go in there and just start off softly, right? Just get a conversation going, and then you kind of jump into a little bit about what they do, right? And then learn about what they do, learn about what their role is in their company. And from that content and from their website, see where you can kind of come in and provide something of value and solutions.
And Jason, I would also add to learning about their struggles. You know, what are they facing in their role, and what's a struggle, and how can we make that better for them? You know, that's a big one. A lot of people, they like to talk about their problems, and some of them can be solved simply. So, you know, that's a good relationship builder there too, and just a good way to identify an opportunity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about figuring out what they're struggling with, you know, regardless of your industry, because there are profiles out there. People have so much information, but the biggest mistake people make is they don't take the time to read it. And you're really missing an opportunity to engage with somebody and build a stronger relationship by not reading, or some people just shoot off messages that are completely irrelevant. And had they taken the time to learn about the person, start a conversation, you know, read about their accomplishments and their role, you can really get more effective. And that's how you're really going to convert things. Because if you're just kind of shooting in the dark, it's going to be a long time before it sticks. So it's really important to take the time to learn about people and what they do and their problems.